Welcome to Gate City Insider. I'm Rosemary Plybin. When was the last time you left the bank and felt inspired? Anyone? Anyone? No? Well, then you have not run into Brian Campbell. Yes, he's a mortgage banker. He's also a motivational speaker and creator of the Banker's Blueprint. What is that, you're asking? Well, we're going to find out all about it because he is with us today. Hello and welcome.
Hello, Rosemary. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So glad to have you. All right, first, just tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey.
Yeah, so Rosemary, I'm an only child, first generation college student from Fayetteville, North Carolina. But also somebody that played a lot of sports growing up. Not the biggest guy in the world, so I'm about 5'6½", so give me my half, right?
And I've got a half too.
You got a half too? All right, cool. And so I have learned, especially playing sports, I played basketball growing up, and also having a father that was in the military, of like hard work, right, discipline. And so that's been kind of like my it factor when it comes to everything that I kind of put myself into. Coming to school, which right here in the Greensboro area at UNC Greensboro, I will say that my story in regards to leadership and becoming a better person started when I joined a fraternity, right? So joining a fraternity, I started learning more about principles, learning more about myself and other people, and taking that part of my life being a part of a fraternity and using those principles to get my very first job out of college, which was the same company I work for today. And having that opportunity then thrusted me into the banking world, which I've been ever since.
So your first job at the bank was what?
Yeah, so my first job was through this leadership program. So an on-campus interview at UNC Greensboro is where I kind of thrusted my career. So I would say I kind of bypassed some of the entry level through this program. But that is kind of what started the position of me being a retail loan officer. So helping people with personal loans, auto loans, and then my career after about a year and a half really took off because I really saw something in somebody else. His name is Nolan Link, who was a mortgage loan officer. And I saw what he was doing, which was impacting people's lives with home ownership. And I said, that's what I want to do. And it didn't come easy. I will say that, and I'm sure that's going to come up later in regards to the Banker's Blueprint. But I had the opportunity sooner or later to then go into the mortgage loan officer position to help people with home ownership, and I've been doing that ever since.
And so let's talk a little bit about that and in home ownership and seeing people, you know, realize those dreams. What was that like for you?
Yeah, so
starting off at least.
It's amazing because I can really look back at my career. I've helped more than 2,500 people, right, to buy a home, refinance, or build a home. And over time, it does start to blur with the amount of people, but the one thing that really stuck with me is having direct impact. Like all of my career, for more than 23 years, I can say I've helped children, I've helped grandmothers, I've helped people that didn't have even confidence that they could have ownership, and I put them in a position to where now they have a net worth. Now they're able to teach their children. So having like a direct impact to educate people, and sometimes it's even to inspire them just with my conversation, face to face, sitting across the table saying, you can do this. Here are the steps. I've been doing this for a while, and here's how I can take you along this journey so that you can get what you want.
I imagine you could see in people a little shift sometimes when they come into your office. Like, you know, I could imagine a little bit of, you know, hunched shoulders, a little bit nervous, and unsure what's going to happen in this relationship in this room with the person who kind of holds the keys, literally and figuratively, to the next step into that dream. And then for you to be able to help them find out and help them believe in themselves that they can do it and help them see the pathways, there has to be just a shift from, you know, like this to this, right?
And it's amazing to really see it on the other side, right? When somebody then trusts you, right? Because I want to be a trusted advisor to them, that what I'm explaining to you, my experience that I'm giving to you is all in the better you. And when that person really feels it, as you said, they could come in maybe timid, unsure, but then if I can use a part of me, my energy, my knowledge to help them, now they sit up. Because now they believe.
So let's talk about the Banker's Blueprint, because that's what this is all leading to, right?
So there's been a shift, right? And I'll start with a shift inward with me first. So I've been doing this again for more than 20 some years, and I get to a stage in my career, Rosemary, where I know that there's more. There's more in me where I've helped people directly. I know I've had impact in the community. I've had impact in people's lives, but I've been doing it really to earn an income, but also to help other people, but it still is very singular. And I said, you know what, there's so much knowledge, so much that I have gained over this lifetime of working in corporate America and helping people buy homes, where I know that I can help people outside of just the framework of home ownership. I can help them with some of the lessons that I've learned in corporate, some of the lessons that I've learned when I was in college, out here in the world. I've worked in sales. So there's all these different elements where I said, how can I take something that's timeless, principles that I really believe in? How can I take those and develop something that I know can have an impact in somebody's life?
And so the Banker's Blueprint was born, which has 6 principles, and
That's
they
correct.
are?
Yep, so those are, number one is going to be grateful. It's being gratitude, discipline, failure, and then people, self-care, and then the last one is vision. Vision is the last one.
Yeah, and has one been more impactful for another? Do they all hold a different place in your life and maybe a different time in your life?
Yeah, so, all of them have different, what again, I think are universal for anybody. And a lot of people may think that the Banker's Blueprint is just about financial literacy. It's much deeper than that, right? Because I just said gratitude being the number one thing.
Right.
That one's a mind shift, right? I can honestly say I've been able to travel to many different parts of the United States, all because of my hard work, but also I have gratitude. I've been able to touch so many people by using my knowledge. I've been able to get into doors such as where I am today by being grateful. And I know it can all be taken away. So having that mind shift of being grateful for the things that I've been able to experience and the places I've gone, it helps me to know that, you know what, things could be absolutely worse than what they are today. And it helps me to kind of get through the tough times.
Yeah. Is there, if you could just wrap up in kind of one sentence, what these principles have meant to you and how they have impacted you, what would that be?
One sentence. It's been laying out where we are today, the vision. Right? So all of them kind of have a certain place in how I teach, right? How I speak, because that's the other thing, right? As a motivational speaker, I take these frameworks of the Banker's Blueprint and I tie them into a message. So all of them, when I start talking about gratitude, discipline, failure, self-care, these are all different elements that have helped me to be the person that I am. But the vision is the big one, because the vision is where I've started to shift from everything being just in my mind to actually now creating it. Everything that I've done in the last 6 months has been things that I've actually thought about, that have actually manifested, that have actually came true by just being me, but then being uncomfortable. And it hasn't been easy. Has there been some failures along the way, some no's or not right now? Absolutely, but I didn't let it stop me. I kept going. So I would say vision, that's the big one.
Okay. Brian, thank you.
Thank
We're
you
going to
very
dive
much.
more into the Banker's Blueprint and 3 principles specifically coming up over the next few segments. But in the meantime, if you want to learn more, if you want to kind of bookmark this, it is the Banker's Blueprint. It's at bcinspires.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Gate City Insider. Today we're talking about the Banker's Blueprint, and it's not just about money. This is about finding yourself, finding your vision, finding success by knowing yourself is really what it's all about. Atia Cornwell is living it, diving into, there are actually 6 principles that are a part of the Banker's Blueprint. One of them, the number one on the list, is gratitude, and Atia Cornwell is here to talk a little bit about that. Hi.
Absolutely. Hello. How are you?
So good. So glad you're with us. Okay, so tell us a little story about you. Where'd you start? How'd you get where you are today?
So, UNC Greensboro started out for me.
Okay.
Absolutely went there, but I'm also have been in the park and recreation industry for 22 years. So
Cross paths with a lot of folks here in the city of
absolutely,
Greensboro. and that.
100%, 100%. So that's been great. But also about next month will be 14 years. Have a clothing brand that I started with a couple friends that went to UNC Greensboro. So just those connecting paths and really being in a daily basis of being with people from a park and rec standpoint, public service, but also from a fashion standpoint of being in the community. So I like to see a little bit of a community builder. And then on top of that, just growing up, my dad is my hero. My dad was a Paralympic athlete. He became paralyzed when I was about 5 months old. So really my connection to park and recreation services and being a public service standpoint and the impact.
Accessibility.
100% is through my dad. So nice to be in a space now where I can kind of give back in the same way that, park and recreation professionals gave back to me way back then.
I love that. I love that. Let's talk about gratitude. What does that mean to you?
It really fuels journeys for me. Like it really takes an opportunity, one, and being in the public sector, often I get to work on a daily basis what I call unsung heroes, people that really don't want the credit, right? But these are the ones in my industry are the ones providing the services, introducing kids for the first time to a sport, or maybe introducing a senior to an art activity or so forth. But really knowing that they're making a day-to-day impact goes a long way. So it's that gratitude piece. One is almost like a mirror moment. It's a self-reflection. And sometimes we don't take time to give that space for ourselves to say, you know what you're doing, you're making an impact. So when you kind of look at that network and being able to, share with colleagues gratitude, and, often, like I said, I think it's sometimes, especially with those unsung heroes, it just encourages and fuels their journey along the way. So it really goes a long way. And I really have started thinking about it with my dad being my hero. It's just me on my end of being so thankful for him. And, something that really impacted his life, a really game-changing moment in his life, but he didn't give up. So now, I think I've leaned into it a little bit more over the last 5 or 6 years of saying, man, I'm thankful for him and my mom and the gratitude that they, didn't give up, right?
Yeah. I hear you talking a lot about gratitude for family, for your coworkers, for your community. How do you think about gratitude like on a personal level, like, for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It actually, puts you in a space of one, letting you know you're making that impact. So on a day-to-day basis, I think and I think you talked about it a little bit when it comes to being, looking at mirror reflection of myself, is like, taking the time to give space when you actually have opportunities to accomplish some things or make impacts in the community, it goes a long way. So it's kind of a little bit more of a self-reflection as well.
Yeah.
But once again, I think the other moment of it is then when you are able to kind of share with others. And once again, going back to those unsung hero moments of being able to say, you're doing a pretty cool thing. I had a really cool moment actually yesterday where somebody just kind of pulled me aside and we both had to fight back those ugly tears of saying, hey, I really appreciate what you've done to be able to, introduce me and kind of build my network. They didn't have to do that, but that really went a long way. Now, it's not like that I'm normally looking for that, but it felt good.
It felt good, right?
Yeah.
And so you want to pass that on to other
100%.
people and show your gratitude to them because you know how it makes you feel.
Absolutely.
Right, and then it comes back at you too, right? You
100%.
feel good when you can make somebody else feel
100%.
good.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of people do things like gratitude journals or, a prayer of gratitude at night. Do you have like a routine that incorporates gratitude?
I think over the last couple of years of just really making that commitment to saying, one, even in small things, of saying thank you, right? Or circling back, because like a lot of times if it's work related or even personal related, the hustle and bustle of going so quickly, we don't stop for that space. So you know what, thank you for doing that. Really appreciate that. So I think for me, just being really conscious to making the effort to just stop the moment. The phone calls are going to come, the emails are going to come, but making sure we have that space to be able to express gratitude and also being able to receive it. Oddly enough, sometimes
that's true.
That's tough, right?
Yeah. No, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it was somebody else.
100%.
Yeah.
So being in a space to receive that, and like I said, I think all those components and leaning into that really helps fuel journeys as well and motivates you to be able to hopefully be in a space where you can create more moments of gratitude as well.
Yeah. Do you have any suggestions for how others can really, tangible ways they can incorporate gratitude every single day?
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned the journal. I fortunately was gifted a journal a couple weeks ago, so I started utilizing that.
Oh, nice.
So I think that goes a long way. I think another piece is just to make sure within your circle, family or coworkers or whatever, being able to have that space of having those conversations, to be able to kind of be a self-reflection or a self-motivator for yourself, but then also as you build that network, of being able, if you see somebody, if you see those unsung heroes, or if you see somebody doing something positive, stepping up to be able to share that and to be able to give them to feel their journey along the way, I think goes a long way too. So I would say those components. The gratitude journal definitely is one that I've embraced over the last couple weeks once I got that gift. But then also as you build that circle, build that network, leaning into one another and going along that way of making sure that we inspire and empower each other.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything to
100%.
do it, right, to inspire
100%.
somebody else. The thank you takes no time at
There
all,
you
but
go.
it could turn somebody's day around, like you said.
Absolutely.
That the person who came up to you out of nowhere yesterday and to
Meant a
say
lot.
thank you
Meant
means
a
a
lot,
lot,
yeah,
right? It
absolutely.
definitely does. To you, thank you. So
Absolutely.
nice to
Thank
chat
you.
with you.
100%.
And so glad our paths have crossed, so thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you.
Up next, we're going to talk about vision. In the meantime, if you want to learn more about the Banker's Blueprint, just go to bcinspires.com. Welcome back to Gate City Insider. We're going to talk a little bit about vision. Now, vision is a whole lot more than those E's and M's that you see on an eye chart. It means thinking about the future with imagination and maybe a little wisdom. So how can you find yours? It's a big question, and it's probably a never-ending one. You're always looking. But the Banker's Blueprint might be able to help, and so might the guy who's with us now. This is Jason Scott. So glad you're with us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
All right, so tell us, Jason, a little bit about you.
So I was from Mayberry, North Carolina.
Really?
So, yep, right up the road, about an hour. So I was big in band and did summer music camps at UNCG, and that was where I went to school. So first family member to ever go to college and finish. And I loved UNCG so much in the city. I say we're big enough but small enough.
Yeah.
We have restaurants and sports and concerts and no traffic.
And did you meet Brian and Tia at UNCG? Everybody's a UNCG crowd here.
It's crazy. No, we're all Spartans, but we met somewhere else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Greensboro so much I stayed.
Yeah.
So, and then right out, I worked for Belk department stores for 23 years.
Yeah.
And they were at one point based in the Triad at Carolina Circle. Dating myself a little bit.
I remember I went ice skating at Carolina Circle Mall. Yeah.
So I was in 9 different stores over the 23 years. And my last project before I left, we opened the home store at Friendly. So, if the home store is across the street.
Yeah.
That was my project. So
Wow.
it was the last thing I did.
Okay, and now?
Real estate.
Real estate.
Yeah,
And what's
so-
that been like for you?
Absolutely amazing. So after all those 25 plus years in sales and service and food industry, it was a natural fit. It was just a higher price point.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
real estate was perfect for me. People, helping folks, that was in my heart, my DNA is to help others.
Yeah, well,
And
I've been hearing that a little bit
just a
from our
bigger
other
product.
guests today. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So we talk about vision. It's not one size fits all, right? Like, how do you think about vision, and how do you do visioning for yourself?
So it can be overwhelming, especially if you're like you're an entrepreneur and you're starting your own business and you're like, what's my vision? What's my mission? What's my values? And so I was fortunate for real estate. I started with the largest real estate company in the world. And I spent 2 years as a solo agent there. And then a group of us broke off and opened a boutique agency where it was focused on service. Day in, day out was a little more intimate, helping folks. And I became a broker for them, which means I was the broker in charge for the office. And then I was able to come back to Keller Williams, a broker office of 250. So corporations put out mission, visions, values, and they're always action-oriented. Often they're future-oriented. Like Google's is one click away for everyone to know more, something like that. And they want to keep you motivated, and often remembering where you're from, but where you want to go. So mine, again, came to me from a fair housing standpoint, and I wanted to make a difference one client at a time, that every little step in the right direction to make a difference, that I know someone is treated the right way. That's what I wanted to do.
And of course, that wasn't always your vision, because you were doing something different,
Yeah.
totally different before.
Yeah, people change, so your
Yeah.
vision can change too. It's perfectly fine to do that. You just have to keep it forefront. If you're managing folks or leading folks, you have to speak to it regularly so folks know what your mission, what you're working towards. You know, if it's to make a difference, it's to grow, it's to, you know, whatever that vision might be. Just it's not something you put on a shelf like a book.
Yeah, yeah, good point. And we've been talking about work vision. I mean, really career focus. But do you have a life vision? You know, one that is more personal for you?
Yeah, it is actually. So we don't have children. So it was to be able to give back to our nieces and nephews something. And being the first year graduate from a college, shout out to the Bryan School of Business down the street. I've been fortunate enough to do that.
Wow.
So financially, we're going to be able to leave our nieces and nephews in a good place. So that was just to be better than the generation before, and then to make a difference for others after us.
I love that. And how does it feel to be living your vision? I mean, I think people do vision boards, and there are different ways to get there, right?
Yeah.
But then when you feel like you're actually living the truth of your vision, how does that feel?
It's empowering. You know, we talked about grateful earlier. It's one of the highest emotions you can feel, because then the heart feels it, and it releases endorphins when you live in a gratitude state. And when you vision for the future, that can all be manifested. And like I teach a class on vision boarding every year for our agents, and you know, we spend time reflecting on what we did well, what we didn't do quite so well. We tear up those things that we don't like and get them out of our systems. You know, write a letter to the past that that's not what we're going to do forward. And then we manifest, whether it be travel, whether it be financial, whether it be, you know, promotion, whether it be relationship and personal. We put that so we see it on a board, and then we put it in our offices.
Yeah.
And then that way, whether it is, you know, spiritual, family, or business, you know, it's in front of us every day.
Yeah, keeping it where you can see it and remember. These are some great exercises. Are there some other ways, you know, tangible ways people that you've seen work for people getting to their vision and finding it?
You know, often we call it also another way to network in is because your big why. Like, why am I doing what I'm doing?
Right.
You know, what is my purpose? And mine changed when my mother passed. You know, I took about a month off and decided that, you know, it wasn't about me anymore. It was about making a difference for others. And it was being in that gratitude state and being in a state of giving back. And real estate's afforded me the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
So,
and a vision statement offers you kind of a good litmus test, I would think, for the
It does.
why. Like, okay, you know, I get asked to serve on this committee. Does this fit into my vision? Like, is this a good why? Does this fit into my why?
yeah, I was recent president for our Realtor Association, and I serve on the state committees with North Carolina Realtors. And I was chair for inclusion and belonging this past year. And again, it's about making people feel valued, also making them feel like you're a support network for them, and also that you have your own vision and that you're progressing yourself professionally, personally, spiritually, however that may be for you. Biblically, it's like if you have no vision, they'll perish. You know, that's a verse out of the Bible, of course. And that's why you can revisit it as we grow as individuals.
And we should, right?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
We're not the same person I was. It's like a person in a river. You know, when I go back to visit the river, I'm not the same person yesterday, and the river's not the same either. So we always have to keep changing and growing and developing ourselves into better humans so that we can be better for others.
Yeah. Jason, thank you.
No, it's
really
been an honor.
appreciate that. So vision, that's a big one, but we can work on it, all of us. After the break, we're going to talk a little bit more, dive into one more principle of the of the Banker's Blueprint, which is discipline. In the meantime, you can learn more about the Banker's Blueprint. Start to write your own vision. Think about your why. Go to bcinspires.com, and we'll be back. Welcome back to Gate City Insider. We're so glad you are with us today. Gratitude, vision, and discipline. 3 principles that could have you living a more purposeful life. We're talking about the Banker's Blueprint. Kevin Cook is making it happen in the real world, and glad you are with us. Hello, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So glad you're here. So we're talking about discipline. That's the third of 6 principles that we're going to discuss that are part of the Banker's Blueprint. A really key factor to success is discipline. So before we get to that, just tell us a little about you.
Hey, thank you. I'm a military kid, military brat kid. Spent most of my life here in North Carolina, been all over the country from 2 retired Air Force parents. I started my professional career here as a police officer at 21 years old. I was a police officer for a decade. Started to grow a family and figured out that that salary wasn't going to work out too good. So I started a service business, a landscape company. I was able to grow it to be able to leave the police department after 10 years. To spend more time with my family. And of course, it was financially better. Ended up growing that business into a 7-figure company and sold it, and then started another service company, built that into another 7-figure business and got rid of that. And now I'm a sales trainer for contractors across the nation, teach them how to grow their businesses and make more revenue.
Okay, so I mean, you grew up with discipline. I mean, it was something I would think ingrained from you at a young age. Can you talk about what that felt like as a young person, and now what it feels like as as you've had more control over that?
Right. So discipline has been a very firm part of my life. You know, from a young kid, being in sports, being a college athlete as well. Just going to practice, doing the stuff, and of course having military parents, my dad was a drill sergeant, so just making your bed every day, win in the morning, and just striving to be the best all the time and just do training and practicing. So now as an adult, being disciplined, I see it a little bit different now. It's doing those small things every day to work to yourself towards your goals, to be the best you can that everybody doesn't see. That does get kind of boring sometimes, but it's necessary to achieve your goals. And I always say it's the things that you do to be happy with who you are today while being in pursuit of what you want.
Yeah. So, okay, give us a few tips. How do we begin kind of a routine of discipline, and how do we stick to it?
For me, and I suggest for anybody to win in the morning before anything else.
That came from Dad, huh?
Yeah, win in the morning. Wake up at the same time every day. And for me, it could be different for everybody else. For me, it's getting up and going to work out and getting that done on time, because it's something for yourself, it's something for me. And then I'm a father of 3 kids, so I make sure I get done on time so I can go home and be uninterrupted and win in the morning and be with them uninterrupted and present with them throughout the morning. For me, that's winning my day by 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. How quickly can you lose discipline if you get off a routine, if you don't follow through with what you want to do? How quickly do you notice, and do things start to kind of unravel for you?
I think that is a great question. I think that you can lose discipline faster than what you can build it.
Yeah,
for sure. It doesn't matter what it is. You take a week off the gym, that bed feels good in the morning, and if you're eating it right or whatever, just one night out of eating it's so good, and it can turn into a week. So you can slip off the horse rather quickly, but it's about getting back on the horse and staying on it as best you can.
How do you kind of instill this in your kids because that's something that kids will push back on, right?
Oh man, they push back on it all the time. But I think it's great because my oldest is 15. I got 10 and 9-year-old, so they fight for a little bit at the beginning, but it's for them. It's still 1 in the morning, making your bed. They make their own lunches. Those things, get themselves ready to go to sports practice and stuff like that. They hate it, but my daughter's 15 and you can see it works because she's like a well-oiled machine right now and keeping herself together and independent.
I love
That's
it.
for sure.
I love it. And what has it meant for you? I mean, how do you think it helped you to be successful and where you are today?
Discipline has helped me through the tough times, to remain disciplined. It is easy to get off and get distracted in my life, for sure. I've been through some ups and downs, and through business and family and stressful police work, and just being disciplined to stay close to family, stay close to home, and when you're working, to be disciplined to really take care of work while you're at work, and then disciplined to learn over time how to be at home when it's time to be at home.
Yeah. When you slip, what brings you back? Because we all slip.
The long-term vision about where you want to be.
Yeah,
You
there
know,
we go.
I want to be a great dad. I want to be a great business person. So that always brings me back to my square.
Yeah.
Is asking myself if I'm being a great dad and I'm being a great businessman.
Yeah, Brian said at the beginning, that vision, that's the big one that
Oh,
you
yeah.
want to get to.
For
And
sure.
then and all the other ones really just feed it, the gratitude, the discipline, all those things
For
feed
sure.
into that for sure. Well, for sure. Well, how do you define success? Tough
Man.
question.
I think I said a little bit earlier, for sure, success is constantly making your way towards your dreams and goals and being happy with where you are while in pursuit of the places that you want to be and what you want in your life, for sure.
It's the journey,
Yes,
not the
it is. It is the
destination.
journey.
It's the journey, that is for sure. Thanks. We appreciate you spending some time with
course.
us today, sharing your story, and best to you and your wonderful family.
Thank you.
Don't forget, you can learn more about the Banker's Blueprint, the 6 principles, and all that can help you lead a more purposeful life. Go to bcinspires.com. Well, that is our time today. Thank you for spending a little of yours with us. From all of us here at Greensboro Television Network, we hope you have a wonderful day.